Well, the Democrats have a brand new talking point to rationalize and explain away their government shutdown, and it exploded in their faces, like in real time, right as they were delivering it. And Cory Booker got fact checked by CNN, and he was made to look like the Spartacus fool that he is. We'll give you the latest on the Schumer shutdown and how Republicans are trouncing Democrats in the narrative. That's coming up in just a second. Also, thank you, Lord. Kamala Harris continues her book tour. Oh, man, and it's ugly. It's terrible. And she's dropping lots of F-bombs, that foul-mouthed, potty-mouthed little Democrat nominee. We're ready to give her the nomination for 2028 today, just to keep this show afloat. We'll give you the latest from Kamala Harris's word salad tour coming up right now. Hey, it's Halloween. Thanks for watching. We're brought to you by The Lion. My name is Larry O'Connor, and you can call me Larry. Thank you so much for being a part of our daily conversation here about the news and, making fun of the news as well, because if you can't laugh at politicians and people in the media, then there's no reason being in this country. So if you like what we do every day, why don't you let your thumbs do the walking and give us a like right now on this video so we can build our audience and build our community, and also leave some comments and tell us what you're going as Halloween. That's right. I want your Washington, D.C. partisan political Halloween costumes of choice right here in the live chat and in the comments section. And also what you would like Kevin and I to dress up as Halloween tonight when we go trick-or-treating. That's right, we're going trick-or-treating together. All right, we're going bar hopping together. Same thing. Thanks for watching the show, and subscribe if you don't mind. If you care about staying sharp and informed, make The Lion part of your daily routine. They're published by the Herzog Foundation. The Lion covers the headlines that matter, from politics and policy to culture and faith, all through a common-sense, values-driven lens. It's the kind of journalism that goes beyond the surface, offering the context and clarity today's news demands. Whether you're tracking big national stories or you want to know what's happening in schools, state houses, and communities across the country, The Lion delivers smart, well-sourced reporting you're not going to find anywhere else. Visit readlion.com to catch up on the latest must-read stories and sign up for The Lion's daily and weekly newsletters while you're there. That's readlion.com, news that informs and respects your worldview. President Trump stunned politicians in Washington yesterday for calling for an end to the filibuster that is blocking the passage of the current continuing resolution. We'll get to those details in a second and analyze whether that's a good idea or not. Also, the Democrats are now giving you a new excuse why they're shutting down the government, and it didn't last 30 seconds in real time. That's glorious. We'll show you that. And CNN fact-checking Cory Booker, making him look like an idiot. All that coming up in a second, but we'll start with President Donald Trump taking to Truth Social and saying the fact is that Democrats have gone stone cold crazy. The choice is clear. Initiate the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster, and make America great again. What does that mean? The nuclear option, the filibuster. Well, most of you are pretty informed, but in case you don't know, the majority in the Senate right now belongs to the Republicans, yes, but there's an old rule called the filibuster. The cloture rule is officially what it's called, which means that the Senate can debate on and on and on and on and on for as long as they want until 60 people vote to end debate. That's called cloture, and then you move on to a vote. So even if you've got a bill that's only going to pass by 51 to 49, you still need 60 people, which means reaching across the aisle usually, to initiate cloture and end debate on that issue. Now, it used to be 2/3 of the Senate, late 80s, I want to say, or early 90s. They changed that to be 60 votes instead. And there have been times over the last couple of decades where the cloture rule has been suspended or eliminated. And when that's been done by the majority, it's been called the nuclear option. Now, the nuclear option was first triggered by Harry Reid. He is dead now, but he was this. Isn't he dead? I think he's dead. Is he dead? I don't know. He was the Senate Majority Leader for the Democrats out in Nevada. Totally corrupt, obviously. And he was having trouble getting some of Barack Obama's justices through, judges through, federal judges. And so he initiated the nuclear option. All right, enough. We don't want 60 votes for cloture. We're going to go ahead with a bare majority. Fine. But the second they did that, when Republicans had the majority, they used it. And they used it to move a ton of Republican judges and Supreme Court justices through without having to worry about the 60 vote cloture. So it came back and bit Democrats on the butt. Ever since then, there's sort of been this understanding that, okay, you may be tempted to do away with this, but the second you do, it's going to come back in a boomerang and hurt you. In fact, I have a very real world example of that. During the Biden administration, Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, wanted to do this. They wanted to end the filibuster in the Senate so that they can ram through whatever they wanted, including statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico and expanding the Supreme Court to 15 justices and junk like that. It took Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema in the Democrat caucus to stand up to that. They pushed back on their own Democrat leadership and said, no, this is a bad idea. We don't want to do this. And if Democrats had done that, Republicans wouldn't even have an issue right now. They'd be able to do whatever they want, pretty much. There's now a call by President Trump to do this specific to budget issues, right? Specific to funding the government. If the government is facing a shutdown like we are right now, then the filibuster rule goes away. Now, you'll remember yesterday we played a video of J.D. Vance when he was at the Turning Point USA conference. And he said, listen, Republicans need to stop worrying about what Democrats might do when they get into power, because they're going to do it. They've already done it. So everybody's saying, hey, Donald Trump, you don't want to do away with the filibuster because now Democrats, they'll do the same thing. And Trump is like, they did. If it weren't for Sinema and Manchin stopping them, they would have gone through with it. So they're going to do this when they get in the majority. Either way, so Republicans should just do it now. And by the way, if Republicans do it now, they'll be able to pass so many great things that it'll make it harder for Democrats to take back the majority in the Senate, because Republicans will be so popular with all the legislation they pass because they don't have to worry about the filibuster. You see the argument? Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, I think that there's good arguments on both sides of that. I'd love to hear from you. Who do you think is right or wrong? I do agree with one thing here. Democrats will do away with the filibuster the second they get back in the majority. So Republicans might as well, I suppose. And they'll also look like heroes for getting the government reopened. It's a thought. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, his daily news conference today. Let's hear what he has to say.
I haven't. The president's been very busy. He was in, Asia doing all these trade agreements. I've been a little busy, as you know. We haven't spoken since he returned. I sent him a text earlier this morning. I saw that as well. What you're seeing is an expression of the president's anger at the situation. He is as angry as I am and the American people are about this madness. And he just desperately wants the government to be reopened so that all these resources can flow to the people who need it so much. Look, I'll just say this in general. As I've said many times about the filibuster, it's not my call. I don't have a say in this. It's a Senate chamber issue. We don't have that in the House, as you know. But the filibuster has traditionally been viewed as a very important safeguard. If the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think our team would like it. The Democrats, look, they've said what they would do. They would pack the Supreme Court. They would make Puerto Rico and D.C. states. They would ban firearms. They would do all sorts of things that would be very harmful for the country. And the safeguard in the Senate has always been the filibuster. But again, not my issue, not something I get to even weigh in on. My opinion on this is not relevant. It's the senators. But I think that it just is another expression of the frustration, of the pressure that is being felt, the anger by the president and by me and all of us that we're in this situation at all. Do your basic job. I'm going to say this again. We have put zero Republican policy priorities on the CR. It is Biden level policies and spending. They have no excuse at all not to support it. They have no excuse to put all this pain on the American people, except that for what we've just articulated and repeated here every day. They want to give a showing to the radical left fringes of their base, and they want to give illegal benefits or benefits back to illegal aliens and non-citizens and all the other crazy stuff that they've claimed.
All right. He's getting better and better at this every day, isn't he? Seriously. Mike Johnson really coming to his own in this. He owns the issues, not really even referring to notes anymore as he does this. Good job. Good on him. That's where things stand. And that's actually a good analysis of where things stand and where the president is in calling for an end to the filibuster. Let's swing over to the Democrats now, because it's funny, when they first started this government shutdown, he's right, by the way. The whole reason that the Democrats refuse to fund the government is because they're demonstrating to their radical socialist communist left power base, from Bernie to AOC to Zohran Mamdani. That's where the energy is in the Democrats. And they are ticked off. They want to see Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries fight. It's like, fight for what? We don't care. Just fight. Okay, fine. We'll shut down the government. Yeah, that's what we want. So they're doing that. And their first argument was they're doing it because they're trying to save the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, right? Remember, that was their first talking point. Although the continuing resolution that was packed full of goodies that the Democrats wanted, yes, included all of that money for Obamacare and Medicaid funding. It also included money that would go to illegal immigrants getting free health care that you're paying for. So it's not really free, is it? It also would have refunded NPR and PBS. It would have refunded NGOs, the USAID. I mean, it was a laundry list of things that Democrats demanded that just got voted on and approved by the majority Republicans in the House and the Senate and the President of the United States at the will of the American voter, right? It had all of these strings attached. And Republicans said, hell no, not just no, hell to the M or F and no, we're not going to do that. That was the first excuse that the Democrats had. And then their excuse for shutting down the government was no kings, right? Trump's an authoritarian, and ICE and all of the horrible things that he's doing. So that's why we have to keep the government shut down. Now the excuse is that there are poison pills in the continuing resolution, which is pretty rich, because everything I just described that the Democrats had embedded into their bill that they would only agree to open up the government, those are, in fact, poison pills. A poison pill is when a legislator puts forth a bill and it says it's going to do one thing, like, for instance, make healthcare more affordable, right? Or give free cotton candy to everybody in America, right? And then when you look into the, 10,000 pages in the bill that's supposed to give everybody cotton candy, you're going to find all these other clauses that say, oh, and by the way, we're going to make driving internal combustion engine automobiles illegal. That would be a poison pill, because everyone wants to sign the bill and vote for free cotton candy for everybody. But then it turns out, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I just outlawed the car, right? That's a poison pill. And that's what the Democrats put forth. The Republicans have what's called a clean continuing resolution. Clean meaning it does one thing. It funds the government. There's nothing else attached. No strings, no pills, poison or otherwise. It's nothing. That's it. So now the Democrats, they've decided that they're going to try a new lie. The new lie is there's a poison pill in here. There's Republican poison pills, and they're not going to trick us and sign on to this. Okay, so watch this Congresswoman on C-SPAN attempt to use this talking point, and it is going to crash and burn in a Nagasaki-sized mushroom cloud the moment she tries to use it, with one simple follow-up. Watch.
They did have a clean CR vote on September 19th in the House. Did you vote for it?
I disagree with your characterization and want to make sure that we're very clear about what Republicans have been doing. Any bill that they've put forth, they've always had some extra stuff to it. There's always been a poison pill to it. So I disagree with your characterization.
What were the poison pills of the clean CR or the continuing resolution? You say it's not clean, that was voted on in the House in mid-September.
Here's what's important. I think what you're trying to do is shift the responsibility to...
that is the worst, most awkward, ineffective attempt at a pivot and redirection to a talking point that I have ever seen in my entire life commenting on politics in the media. Did you say so? It's a very simple question. Oh, no. That continuing resolution, it's full of nasty little poison pills. And the follow-up, which, by the way, if you notice, the reporter actually bought into the premise, because she started to say, well, what were the poison pills in the clean continuum? And then she stopped herself and said, oh, in fact, I guess it's not clean. Okay, so what are the poison pills? You would think if you just said to the American people on live television, on C-SPAN, to a reporter that there are poison pills in the continuing resolution, you'd have an example of one. You'd be ready for that follow-up, you would think. It's not that, I mean, no offense to the reporter, but it's not the most diabolically brilliant follow-up that you're ever going to hear. Oh, there are poison pills? What? Name one of them. Watch it again.
Any bill that they've put forth, they've always had some extra stuff to it. There's always been a poison pill to it. So I disagree with your characterization.
What were the poison pills of the clean CR or the continuing resolution? You say it's not clean, that was voted on in the House in mid-September.
Here's what's important.
That's just beautiful. That is just beautiful. Spoiler alert, she had no examples of any poison pill. Do you know why? Because there are no poison pills. So then a reporter tracked down Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, and again, not wearing his sombrero, which he's got a weird Halloween costume on. No Frito Bendito mustache, no sombrero. I guess he's going as a crazy, what did Charlemagne the God call him? A Chuck E. Cheese Obama is what Charlemagne called him yesterday. All right, so question is asked. Hey, apparently your new talking point is there are poison pills in the continuing resolution. What are those poison pills? So now he's the leader. He signed off on this talking point, right? So here's his very clear, completely reasonable, easy to digest explanation as to what those poison pills are. Take it away, Hakeem.
Hi, Mr. Leader. If it's not a clean CR, then what is dirty about this bill? What are the poison pills that you're referencing here?
I've repeatedly made clear, I don't know why this is so difficult for people to process on the other side of the aisle, that the bipartisan spending agreement that was reached in December of 2024 is an agreement that should have laid the foundation for any continuing resolution. The March partisan Republican spending bill was strongly opposed by Democrats in March. Why would anyone believe that if they bring the same partisan Republican spending bill to the floor in September, we would view it as anything other than a toxic effort to continue to drive their right-wing policies down the throats of the American people? Because we opposed the bill in March because it hurt veterans, hurt seniors, hurt families, hurt nutritional assistance, and hurt healthcare.
Okay, well, that was easy. Try repeating that one in your next media hit. No wonder the Congresswoman from Oregon couldn't come up with anything. Here's what's important, she said. All right, so this is why Republicans are winning this debate. Because the Republicans have been on message from the beginning, and there has not been any daylight between any of the members of the House, any of the members of the Senate, and the White House, because it's a super easy message. And that's what also makes it very effective. We can all repeat it. I can repeat it. You can repeat it. Everybody can repeat it. All the things that the Democrats want, fine, let's debate it in the House of Representatives and the Senate, where you're supposed to debate legislation. No secret deals or anything like that. You want to do something about Obamacare? You want to do something about ICE? Fine, let's have the debate. Just fund the government, because you're supposed to fund the government. And we've got a bill sitting there, and the bill does one thing. It funds the government. In fact, it continues the funding from the Biden administration. You've already voted for this. You have voted for this exact funding 13 times. So just vote for it again. Super simple. But what about healthcare? Oh, you're right. We'll talk about healthcare. Just fund the government. We're not going to be held hostage, especially by the minority in the House and the Senate. You lost the election. So all we're saying is let's continue funding, and we'll debate all of those things just how you're supposed to debate when you're a legislator. Not a backroom deal, not go into a smoke-filled room with just 3 or 4 people and then jam it down the rest of the House and the Senate's throats. No. You want to do something about Affordable Care Act? You want to do something about ICE? You want to do something about PBS and NPR? Okay, we'll have a committee hearing. We'll debate it. We'll vote on it. That's how we do things. but stop holding the American people hostage. And so that's a very simple message, isn't it? Fine, we'll debate it. Just fund the government. Vote and fund the government. No negotiation. Fund the government. Fund the government. Hakeem Jeffries, when asked about what the poison pill is, first has to say, I don't know why it's so hard for y'all to understand. And then he goes on this obstacle course of an explanation, which proves right there and then exactly why it's hard to understand, because it's incomprehensible and it's deceitful. Take a listen again real fast.
Of 2024.
Oh, hang on.
The bipartisan spending agreement that was reached in December of 2024 is an agreement that should have laid the foundation for any continuing resolution.
So he first references the bipartisan spending agreement of December 2024. Now that is from the previous Congress. See, the new Congress didn't get sworn in until January 3rd, I think it was 2025. So it had a Democrat majority in the Senate and a Republican majority in the House. And Joe Biden was the president of the United States, theoretically. And that was passed and Biden signed it into law. And that, by the way, spending agreement was really just a continuation of the Biden era spending by definition, because Biden was the president, that had been agreed to in September of 2024 before the election. So everybody signed on to it. Then in March, then he references the March continuing resolution.
The March partisan Republican spending bill was strongly opposed by Democrats in March. Why would anyone...
Right. So it was strongly opposed by Democrats in March. I suppose that's true, except there were enough senators in March from the Democrats that voted for cloture and allowed the government continue to be spending. And that, again, that was also a clean continuing resolution to continue the spending bill that he just referenced from December. And this bill is the exact carbon copy of that. So in other words, his explanation about how this is about, the question was, what's the poison pill? And then he goes on this whole long, winding explanation going back to the December 2024 spending, which was really a continuation of September 2024 spending, and then March of 2025 spending, and then a new one in September of 2025, and it's all the same bill. And it's all the same spending, and it goes back to when Chuck Schumer was in charge of the Senate in 2024, and when Joe Biden was sitting at the Oval Office, theoretically in the Oval Office at the White House. So his explanation to the question, what's the poison pill, actually defeats itself as he delivers it. And do you notice he never actually answered the fundamental question? What is attached to this resolution that you find objectionable? What he finds objectionable is that Donald Trump is president of the United States. What he finds objectionable is the Democrats' polling has been cratering for the last 10 months, and they've got nothing. They have no one leading them. And so they decided the only thing that they can do is resist. And that's what they're doing. And you're paying the price for it. He elaborated a little bit, sort of.
Is it your suggestion that the partisan Republican spending bill that has now been voted down by the Senate 13 different times, that guts the health care of the American people, is a so-called clean continuing resolution? There's been bipartisan opposition to the partisan Republican spending bill in both the House and in the Senate. And that bipartisan opposition in the Senate has continued 13 different times. Republicans hold press conferences every day, and you know what they do? They lie to the American people. These people are stone cold extremist liars, starting from the very top. And they haven't spoken a word of truth to the American people other than what Mike Johnson admitted today, which is that they want to rip away SNAP benefits from 42 million Americans so they can pressure Democrats to continue Republican policies that would gut the health care of the American people. No thanks. We're not going to do it. And so I appreciate people from throughout corporate America urging the Congress to pass a bipartisan spending agreement. Over the last 30 days, we've said the same thing over and over and over again. We'll sit down with Republicans anytime, any place, anywhere, in order to reopen the government and enact a spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people. That's been our criteria from the very beginning.
Yeah, the criteria is we lost the election, so now you have to do what we tell you to do. Otherwise, we're going to continue shutting down the government. The only difference here between the two messages from the parties, I suppose, is that Republicans will say, yeah, we'll sit down with you anytime, anywhere as well after you fund the government. And see, they are holding the government hostage. They're holding you hostage and benefits and programs hostage because they continue to tell you over and over again, it's their only leverage. Now, you heard him reference there that he appreciates corporate America demanding a continuing resolution. He said a bipartisan continuing resolution. He's acting like there are members of corporate America who are siding with the Democrats. That's not exactly the case. Here's some members of corporate America. These are CEOs from the major airlines who are feeling a real pinch here right now because TSA agents and air traffic controllers are working without pay. They met with Vice President Vance at the White House yesterday. So just again, Chuck E. Cheese Obama. I'm going to use that one now because it was so good. Charlemagne the God. Chuck E. Cheese Obama is pretending like the corporate America is on the Democrat side. Well, here's what corporate America, from the airlines industry at least, had to say. You tell me if they're taking the Democrat side in this one.
Really thanking the professionals, the air traffic controllers, the folks at the TSA, also the FAA, the people in management. They're working hard. They are keeping the skies safe. They've minimized delays. Fewer than 2% of flights have been delayed so far because of air traffic control shortages. So they've done a great job. But it's putting stress on people. It's not fair to those people. It's also putting stress on the economy. You know, the first couple of weeks this had no impact on the economy, but as every day goes by, the impacts start to grow. And airlines are a pretty good real-time indicator of the economy, and we start to see still minor, but steep booking impact, and you see that happening in the economy. We put the whole economy at risk. And so it's been 30 days, and while I don't have a position on which partisan side and how things should be settled with healthcare, it has been 30 days. I also think it is time to pass a clean CR, use that as the opportunity to get into a room behind closed doors and negotiate hard on the real and substantive issues that the American people want our politicians on both sides of the aisle to solve. But let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure and without putting the American workers and the American economy at risk.
All right. So understand something there. He said he's not taking sides in the debate about health care, which is probably a wise thing for him to do. But two clues here about whose side he's on in this debate with regard to the government shutdown. The first clue is where this is taking place and who's standing next to him on either side. That would be the White House, and that would be J.D. Vance and Secretary of Transportation Duffy. Okay, so that's kind of a clue as to where he's sort of aligning himself. And the second is what he just said. It's time for a clean CR to get the government funded. Whose talking point is that? That's the Republicans. That's what the Republicans have been asking for. In fact, that clean CR is sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk right now. It's been sitting there since September 20th. So when Chuck E. Cheese Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, goes over and said, well, I appreciate the corporate America calling for an end to this. What he's saying is, I appreciate corporate America spanking my bare behind while siding with Republicans, because that's the truth. So then Cory Booker, Spartacus, decides to go on CNN, and they show a story about a woman in New Jersey, Cory Booker State, who is about to feel the pinch because of the lack of SNAP benefits that the Democrats have gotten 40 plus million people in this country addicted to, majority of them coming from other countries, by the way. And Dana Bash had a very simple question. Why are you doing this to this woman in your state? Democrats could end this today.
So you say that Republicans are being cruel, but it's also true that you just have to vote yes, and 4 other Democratic senators have to vote yes, and the government will be reopened. And Elizabeth and 800,000 constituents of yours in New Jersey will, at least in the short term, not go without food.
Well, you see the choice that the Republicans are trying to force here. Choose between New Jersey's health insurance and health coverage or feeding New Jerseyans. This is a cruel choice that they're trying to make.
Wait a minute. They're not making you make that choice. You're making that choice. You are the one who have set this up. And Database asked the right question. You could just get a couple of Democrats with you and this all goes away and everybody's fine. And then you can have your negotiation about health care. In fact, she followed up, and his Trump derangement syndrome just, he can't let him think straight or speak straight. He's such a laughable punchline, Cory Booker.
Democrats have been consistently voting no on just keeping the government running, opening the government. Are there some Democrats, do you, sir, because you voted no, bear some responsibility for endangering people's food aid?
Well, Donald Trump has said very bluntly that I'm going to cause maximum pain.
It's just amazing. Whenever the answer is Trump, you know what the real answer is. But they're incapable. They're incapable, literally incapable. All right, let's get back to the minority whip in the House. She is the number 2 Democrat. Imagine having to answer to Hakeem Jeffries as your leader. How humiliating must that be? Anyway, you remember her, Congresswoman from Massachusetts. She's the one who openly said, yeah, we're going to have some suffering, but it's our only leverage. Okay, let's see if she can clean up that mess on aisle 3.
The pain is there. There's no question about it. It seems like you guys want to keep fighting for this.
We are absolutely going to keep fighting for this. And that does not mean that it's like, oh, this pain isn't real and that we are not compassionate and understand the terrible position that people are in. Shutdowns are terrible. And we wish that they had come to the table with us and avoided this. When you control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, you have that power.
Okay, so let's understand something. She acknowledges, oh, yes, the pain is real. We get it. No, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, it's awful. And we're compassionate to that pain. Here's how compassionate they are. Gosh, it's the only way we can get them to come to the table, which, by the way, it's not working. It's been 31 days. Maybe you should come up with plan B, but they don't have a plan B because they painted themselves into a corner and they don't know what the exit strategy is. But I still maintain that this weekend there's going to be some cracks. You're going to see some Democrats show up on the Sunday shows and say enough is enough. That's my hunch. Just in time for the election on Tuesday, and then they'll be able to save face. J.D. Vance, well, he nailed it there during that press conference at the White House. He called the Democrats out for behaving like children.
Skyrocket. Now here is our very simple proposal to the Democrats. Let's sit down and come to a compromise and work it out. And you know what the Democrats' response to that is? Give us everything we want or we're going to shut down the government and keep it shut down. That is not reasonable behavior. That's not how you do compromise in this town. That is the way that the Democrats have operated. They are trying to take a hostage and we can't reward that behavior. If we do that, if we say, yes, of course, we'll give you everything that you want if you reopen the government, you know what's going to happen? In 3 months, they're going to come back to the administration and they're again going to say, we're going to shut down the aviation industry. We're going to deny people SNAP benefits unless you give us exactly what you want. That's how a child behaves. That is not how a responsible governing party behaves in the United States of America. And let me make one final point and then we'll cut out of this press conference. Look, I've been a little bit unfair, and I want to correct this, because when I say the Democrats have shut down the government, it's actually the far left side of the Democratic Party.
That's right. It's not the Democrats. It's the Democrat socialists. That's who's in charge now. They're the ones with the red flags. You'll recognize them. Some of them have hammers and sickles, if you want to go old school. That's who's in charge. The AOCs of the world, the Bernie Sanders of the world, the Zohran Mamdanis of the world, they actually identify as Democrat socialists first. But, up until now, no one would actually vote for somebody if they have the socialist name in the party. And so then they decide, all right, well, for the purposes of the general election, let's lose the socialist part. We'll just get the nomination from the Democrats and we'll whisper the socialist part. But now they're flying their freak flag. And it's a red flag. And that's who's in charge. It's not the Democrat Party anymore. It's the Democrat Socialist Party. And with Zohran Mamdani, it's basically a full-on communist party. We showed you the polls earlier this week where Republicans actually have gained in the approval ratings during this shutdown. They are more popular now with the American people 31 days into the shutdown than they were before. In other words, the Democrats have created a scenario to make their political opponents more popular. And every day it gets worse and worse. Here's the latest from C-SPAN. Here's a caller, self-identified Democrat, and he speaks for tens of millions of Democrats who are watching this shit show in Washington.
Go to Oklahoma, where Lawrence is on our line for Democrats. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm 78, and my folks were too. But this party has changed so damn much. It makes me sick. You know, I'm going to move out of it. It's terrible. You know, just like Schumer. You know, he needs to be in a home. You know, take Pelosi with him. You know,
Lawrence, who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Pardon me?
Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Last election. But like I said, I'm changing.
You voted for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, this is ridiculous, you know.
Why did you
going around, you know?
Why did you think Kamala Harris should win that election?
As a Democrat. I just a solid Democrat, like I told you my folks were too, and I'm just fed up. I'm moving, you know. I don't know, independent or something's got to happen. I just wanted to make a comment, and thank you.
This dude at C-SPAN cracks me up because you saw what happened there. You know, by the way, the C-SPAN studios, it is literally that close to Capitol Hill. Funny note here, that's not a window, of course, those are monitors, but they're showing you the proximity to Capitol Hill. In the building that they're at, 2 floors down from the C-SPAN studio is the Fox News studio, actually. It's kind of a funny note there, just off Union Station. This guy thought he had a gotcha moment. He's like, oh, this guy, he's from Oklahoma, and he got one of those accents. I don't believe he's a Democrat. I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to ask him, who'd you vote for? And he affirmed. He says, no, I'm a Democrat. I voted for Kamala Harris. Really? Why did you vote for Kamala Harris? Because I'm a Democrat. Because I stuck with my party. But no more. It's not going to happen anymore because this is not the Democrat Party that I grew up with. Hell, this isn't even Walter Mondale's Democrat Party. So why is Chuck Schumer doing this? Why? Is it because of the national party posture? No. Maybe for some fundraising because of where the action is in the party right now. But it's not helping them nationally. It's not going to help them win national elections. Trust me, if that's what an Oklahoma Democrat who just voted for Kamala Harris is thinking, trust me, in Pennsylvania, in Iowa, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, you've got a replication of that right there. Why is Chuck Schumer doing it? Well, with Chuck Schumer, it's very personal. You see, he loves his power. He's never had a job in his life other than as an elected official, and he wants to keep his job as the senator from New York. And he's got a young Latinx right on his tail, ready to primary him in 2028. Her name's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And her bestie there in the House is this chick, Ilhan Omar. She represents a district in Somalia. Now, she was on... what? Oh, that's right. She represents a district right outside Minneapolis. I think I can be forgiven for the error. Ilhan Omar was asked specifically if she thinks Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should primary Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer needs to understand something. For all the bending over backwards to accommodate the pinko commies in his party so that he doesn't get primaried in 28, this is the thanks he gets. This is the thanks he gets from the pinko commies in his party who he's now thrown down with and knelt down and kissed the ring for. This is how they thank him. Watch.
One Democrat who has campaigned for and endorsed him is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Would you like to see her primary Chuck Schumer?
I would like Alex to do whatever it is that Alex wants, and I'll be there to support her.
Wow, that's a yes. That would be a yes. Oh, actually, that's not just a yes. That's a you bet your ass yes. That's a hell yes. That's a yeah. I want her to primary Chuck Schumer. Alex, by the way, are we doing that? Are we calling her Alex? Or is there like a they-them situation going on there? They'll do anything for a vote. Alex the Latinx. I like the alliteration there. Backwards alliteration with the X at the end. That's your update. Let's see how the weekend goes. And more importantly, let's see how we emerge on Monday. We'll be here for it right here. Coming up, Kamala Harris is back, and you're going to love the word salad sound bites and dropping a lot of F-bombs too, but we've censored it. Don't worry. If you care about the direction of this country, you need to be reading The Lion, published by the Herzog Foundation. The Lion is, Herzog Foundation, by the way. I think you know them. They're a national leader in Christian education. We love those guys. The Lion is an award-winning news site delivering sharp, timely reporting on what's really happening in America's schools, culture, and government. It's the kind of journalism that cuts through the noise and gives you the full picture, especially when it comes to the growing movement toward Christ-centered education. But The Lion goes deeper and well beyond the classrooms. It covers parenting, faith, freedom, cultural battles shaping our future. Just like its namesake, The Lion embodies strength and courage, standing firm in a landscape where too many have surrendered our children's future to the left's ideology. That's why we love them. ReadLion.com is the website you want to go to. ReadLion.com. Sign up for the daily or weekly newsletters. ReadLion.com. Clarity, courage, and news that keeps you informed and equipped. Kamala Harris continues her book tour. She's gone international now. She's speaking to the Brits and the Aussies, and it's not going well, and that's why we love it. Plus, she spoke with Jon Stewart on his podcast and stunned him with a revelation about her judgment of Biden's cognitive abilities. And she revealed exactly what she thought was going to happen on election night, what was going through her mind as she saw those returns coming in. All right, you'll see that in a second. But first, here she is on the tour. Let's remind you, this was from 2 weeks ago. I think we may have played it for you, but this is her tour that she did in the U.S. before she went overseas. Let's remind you exactly what Kamala Harris was thinking with regard to that election.
That is a decent resume, but go ahead.
But there, well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like the some people say. Very nice, but go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, the some people say. Like Doug, right? I love that Hillary Clinton has to hear that garbage. It's like Hillary's like, girl, I was a senator. I was Secretary of State. I was First Lady. I lived in the White House for 8 years. Oh, yeah, but you're more qualified. What about Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence and other founding documents out of Virginia. Thomas Jefferson was the first Secretary of State. Then he was vice president. But Kamala Harris is more qualified than that. George Herbert Walker Bush was a congressman. He was ambassador to China. He was the CIA director. He was vice president for 8 years, but Kamala Harris more experience. Okay. Well, so then she took that grandiose opinion of herself and brought it to this podcast out of Britain. It's a very popular one. I forget what it's called now, though. Something CEO. I'll share it with you in a minute. I like this.
Diary of a CEO.
What is it again?
Diary of a CEO.
Thank you, Kevin. Diary of a CEO. I like it. He's actually, it's an interesting podcast. I recommend it. And he's a Brit, so he's not going to have all the same questions about American politics. But she then sort of, let's just say, fluffed up her resume a bit.
And then, of course, being vice president and doing the work of vice president of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. I've negotiated very important deals and issues on behalf of the American people.
Wait. What did I miss in those 4 years? Did she visit the UN and because all of those people were there, that counts? Can someone fact check this, please? See, she's in Britain, so she can get away with this because no one's going to say, wait a minute, I don't think that's true. Oh, wow, American vice president does all of those things? Hold on.
And then, of course, being vice president and doing the work of vice president of the United States, I met with over 150 world leaders.
When? What am I missing? When did that happen? We know that she didn't travel much. Remember, I've never been to Europe. Did 150 world leaders come to DC? And she had a couple of, I think she's talking about like she went to the UN and like shook their hand at some party. But then what did she do?
Presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. I've negotiated very important deals and issues on behalf of the American people.
What deal did she negotiate? I'm being completely genuine with my question. I literally have no idea what deal this woman ever negotiated on behalf of the American people. And by the way, you know who hates hearing this? Joe Biden. That's the question. Someone needs to ask President Biden. Kamala Harris just said that she negotiated deals on behalf of the American people. Did you empower her to negotiate deals? For people who are, don't understand America's system of government, maybe, you went to public school here in America or you're from overseas, just so you know, the vice president has two duties. Okay. They have two constitutional duties. Number one is they preside as the president pro tem over the Senate, which really just means they sit there and they wait until there's a deadlock and then they break the tie. So they don't even have to be there in the Senate, right? And the other constitutional job is to basically wait for the president to die. And I have no doubt that she was doing that from the second she became vice president, considering who the president was. Any other job function that the vice president has is assigned to her by the president. That's how it works. It happens. The president says, for instance, she was put in charge of NASA, the space program. It's a ceremonial thing. It goes back to Lyndon Johnson's days when Kennedy gave him that assignment. And it's stupid. They don't do anything. It's a photo op, right? So if Kamala Harris negotiated deals on behalf of the American people, Joe Biden had to task her with that. I want Joe Biden to speak. I want Jill Biden to speak on that, who hates her. I would like Jill Biden to explain when Kamala Harris was tasked with negotiating a deal on behalf of the American people. All right, now let's get to election night. We were all there. We remember it well. We've all watched the videos of the cable news talking heads exploding because Trump was going to win November 2024 against all odds, the greatest political comeback in history. But if you're like me, you wanted to be in the room, not where Trump was when all the great returns were coming in. You wanted to be in the room, a fly on the wall with Kamala Harris. You wanted to watch the despair, the confusion, the anger. You wanted to see things thrown across the room, probably at Dougie's head. You wanted to hear the profanity, and you will hear some profanity soon from Kamala Harris. What was it like? What was going through her mind on election night? Well, take a listen.
I was in a state of shock.
Really? Did you think the day before that you were going to win the election?
Did.
Yeah. And so when did the proverbial penny drop?
When I got a call from my campaign manager that it looks like we need 200,000 more votes that we can't find. Meaning it's just the map, the numbers. And the thing I kept saying over and over again, I was in a state of shock. I was so inarticulate, but maybe very articulate. What I kept saying over and over again is, my God, my God, my God.
Really?
Over and over. I couldn't stop. I haven't felt that emotion, anything similar to the emotion I felt that day and for quite some time, other than the grief I felt when my mother died.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Can we watch this together just for a second? Let's do it.
I was in a state of shock.
Really? Did you think the day before that you were going to win?
By the way, that's the question. I was like, did you really think you were going to win? Seriously? Did you not watch your campaign? Did you not hear yourself in your interviews? Seriously? Okay, so the day before the campaign, she was sure she was going to win. And I guess every candidate holds out hope despite, how things are going. But okay.
The election.
Yeah. And so when did the proverbial penny drop?
When I got a call from my campaign manager.
All right. I just need to pause there for a second because, again, I've observed American politics for my whole adult life and professionally now for over 15 years. That's interesting to me that her campaign manager wasn't either in the room or down the hall from her or in just the same geographic space, right? My understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is usually the candidate and their family and the campaign apparatus at the highest levels are all sort of interacting with each other. And they maybe have the top floor of a hotel suite, right? And they're all sort of going back and forth and shuttling back and forth. I've seen the photographs of candidates and the night of the election as the returns are coming in, and you can see that interaction. Kamala Harris's campaign manager was off site and had to call her to explain what was going on. I mean, I may be making a big deal out of it, but that seems weird to me.
I have a prediction here, Larry.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I think, and I'm not going to say which one, but one of them was probably on a bar stool.
You think there was some painkillers going on there?
Something.
Yeah, I think you may be right. You don't want to say which one?
Could be either. I'm not sure which it would be worse, to be in charge of managing Kamala Harris or to be Kamala Harris.
Well, I do remember that night at Howard University when it became clear that she was not going to be giving a victory speech and they didn't want to give a concession speech, Kevin, it was the chairman of the campaign. Not either of the campaign managers did not make an appearance. So they could have both been 50 sheets to the wind. Okay, so first it's a phone call, not the campaign manager sitting with her, going over the maps, showing her what's looking like. Okay, it's like, it's not looking good. Here's why. Nope. Phone call, which tells me the campaign manager was like, oh, yeah, Kamala, this is how it's always done. Yeah. No. I'll be in the war room. You just hang here with Doug and we'll let you know, because the campaign managers didn't want to have anything to do with this woman. And they did not want the photo ops. They did not want the official photographer to capture the moment of defeat. You don't want to be around a loser when you're in the business of politics. All right. So now let's listen. This next part is really revealing.
That it looks like we need 200,000 more votes that we can't find.
Does that language seem weird to you? We need 200,000 more votes that we can't find. Find? Now, maybe this is how campaign people talk. But it seems to me when President Trump called the Secretary of State of Georgia, you see where I'm going with this, after the 2020 election, when that lengthy count of ballots kept going on and on and on days after Election Day. And you remember Donald Trump used language like, I need you to find me another 10,000 votes. That language was considered criminal. That language was considered indictable. It was an insurrection. It was a coup when Donald Trump said, I need you to find me another 10,000 votes. But here we've got Kamala Harris saying, campaign manager, we need 200,000 votes that we can't find. Is that how Democrats win an election? They find votes somewhere? Hey, look, we found votes. Well, I'll tell you, Abigail Spanberger, the woman who's running for governor on Election Day this Tuesday coming up in Virginia, when I went to bed in 2020, when she was running for re-election as Congresswoman of the 7th District of Virginia against Nick Fuentes, great podcaster, great member of the House of Delegates in Virginia, Nick Fuentes was in the lead when I went to sleep and when I woke up the next day. And literally the next day after that, they found votes. They found about 15,000 votes for Abigail Spanberger on a thumb drive somewhere. Hey, look, everyone, we found some votes. So maybe that is how Democrats win elections. Okay. Here's some more from this interview that I want to share with you. And this is, so Kamala Harris has already said, gone on record early in the week, she's not done. She's not saying one way or the other, but she's being coy. She's demurring, but she's going to run again. Of course she's going to run again. She's addicted to it. These politicians are all addicted to it. But she's got a solution. She's got a plan for victory for herself and other Democrats going forward. Here's the plan, everybody. What could go wrong?
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why. So, Gen Z, they're age about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers. They're a specific generation of people who are going to impact our nation and the world.
Also, it's fortunate that they're uneducated and they don't live in the real world. Their bills are paid for and they don't actually have to deal with the policies that Democrats inflict on them. So they're still naive enough to think that we have some good ideas that are going to work. She left that part out. Yeah, let's lower the voting age to 16. This is no joke. Democrats are doing this all across the country for local elections. Get them younger. Oh, and also they have the benefit of currently being brainwashed in the public schools by teachers, public school teachers who are in our back pocket. So of course, we want them, those brainwashed numbskulls, to vote as well. Well, be careful of this. Watch this in your neighborhood. And yes, I meant Nick Freitas, obviously. Nick Freitas. You know, can I tell you? All right. Kamala, what's next with Kamala? Oh, yeah. Now it's time for her F-bombs. I guess this is how she's going to appeal to those 16-year-old voters. She's just going to let loose with a bunch of profanities. This is a weird one, though, as she's describing her book.
Right. Like, am I just like, fuck it?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ask the question with pretense.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Are you just like, fuck it now? It doesn't matter. Because the book had fuck it energy.
Yeah, I think there is that energy in the book.
There you go. The book has it energy. By the way, do you agree with me? I missed that laugh. Didn't you miss that laugh? Oh, what a laugh. I'm sorry. It is Halloween, and you knew there was going to be some jump scares in this video, didn't you? She continued the F-bombs, this one with Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart's podcast. By the way, copyright issues on this video, so it'll be a screenshot for Jon Stewart, but here's what she had to say with lots of F-bombs dropped in there because she's cool with the kids, you know.
Are you fucking kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now? Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, oh, does the guy have a big fucking hammer? What about those babies?
If you made any sense of that, good for you. Kind of incoherent, but at least you got the F-bomb out there as much as possible. Yeah, are you kidding me, she said, about Trump in the ballroom and about SNAP benefits for starving babies, who, of course, if they are starving because of Democrats. But sure, are you kidding me? Now, here's the fun thing about it. This next passage doesn't have an F-bomb, but it's Jon Stewart's turn to think to himself, are you kidding me, about what Kamala Harris says.
I believe he was fully competent to serve.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That surprises me, actually.
No, I do. There's a distinction to be made between running for president and being president.
What's the distinction?
Well, being a candidate for president of the United States is about being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace, having tomatoes thrown at you every step you take.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's more than a notion.
Get involved in public service, ladies and gentlemen.
And to be the seated president, the sitting president, while doing that, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a hard case to make for people that he didn't have the stamina to run, but he had the stamina to govern. Because I think most people view the presidency as a marathon run at a sprint with tomatoes being thrown at you in terms of governance.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, John. And he's being really charitable there because, well, he's on her team. But she keeps making this point over and over again. Yeah, running for president, that's a lot harder than actually being president. By the way, have you watched Donald Trump perform the duties of president of the United States? I don't think Kamala Harris could keep up and do it. I don't think she has the energy to be a president in the style that Donald Trump has been the president, let alone Joe Biden. But what she's really saying here, and let me translate it for you, is that being president wouldn't have been a big deal for Joe Biden, despite his incapacity, because we already covered his butt for 4 years. We had the auto pen. We had the team who was really running things. We had, the infrastructure there. All he had to do is get the suit on and show up when the cameras were there now and again, which was rare, by the way, because he spent most of his time hiding. So, yeah. I guess that is easy compared to actually running for president. I mean, let's face it. The campaign hadn't even started yet. He did one debate, which involved him standing at a podium for 90 minutes and answering questions from the likes of Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, and he couldn't cut that. But being president, we had that covered. We had a whole system in place. AutoPen, baby. That's what she's saying. And it's time for journalists to call her on it. But instead, she just had more F-bombs to drop with Jon Stewart because it's a party, man. Buy my book.
The Republicans are selling a product they don't believe in.
Right.
But Democrats aren't. So how does that square?
We need to do better.
Oh.
I mean, this is...
I guess we're done.
But we do.
Yeah, and so even Jon Stewart has to laugh at this and in his own way sort of call out and properly mock what she has to say. So Jon Stewart is acknowledging that Republicans have done a better job for the first time in my adult life of actually selling to the American people who we are, what we stand for, and what we're going to do. And by the way, President Trump has demonstrated that we will do it unless Democrats stop us from doing it. And that's very appealing to a lot of voters in this country. We can just do things. Isn't this great? Look at that. And so Democrats have trouble with that. And what's this political genius's solution? This is the woman who wants to run for president again. She thinks she should be president. She thinks she's the most qualified person ever to run for the office. So that must make her a political genius, even though she's never actually faced any real competition, or when she has faced real competition, she has lost because she's a California Democrat. She ran for office in San Francisco as a Democrat. She ran statewide as a Democrat a couple of times. And then she was given the running mate job after crashing and burning when she tried to run as a Democrat in the primaries and didn't even make it to the first primary. So then she was handed the vice presidency on a silver platter. She was handed the nomination on a silver platter. And when she actually faced voters in a contested election where Republicans are not neutered and a shell of a party like they are in California, she crashed and burned and lost miserably, historically miserably. But here's the solution of the political genius that is Kamala Harris about what Democrats have to do.
Republicans are selling a product they don't believe in.
Right.
But Democrats aren't. So how does that square?
We need to do better.
There it is. There you go. Come on, Democrats. There's your advice. There's the strategy. There's the plan from Kamala Harris. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Democrats are losing. You're our leader. We need your advice. Lead us. What should we do? Do better. Do better. I mean, I said it before, and after this series of interviews that we've just highlighted, I'm going to reiterate it, double down, and say it again. The Democratic Party, the leadership of Democrats nationwide, the guiding lights of the corporate legacy media, from newspapers to television networks to academia, pop culture, late night TV shows in Hollywood, they all told us a year ago next week, they told us that that woman is the greatest, most transcendent political candidate to ever grace the American public stage and ask for votes for president. She was it. She was the greatest, and she ran the most perfect campaign. She only had 107 days after all, and if only she had more time, she would have won. And I say, you're right. As a Republican, as a conservative, as an American, you're right. And if you don't just give her the nomination again like you did last time, if you don't just by acclamation allow her to be your nominee in 2028, you're racist. You're sexist. You're Islamophobic and homophobic. I don't know why, but I'll get there. Either way, you're a bigot. After all, you told us, you promised us that she was the greatest, and you only gave her 107 days. Give her another chance. She's ready. Kamala 28. Kamala 28. Please. I'm begging you. If you care about staying sharp and informed, make the Lion part of your daily routine. They're published by the Herzog Foundation. The Lion covers the headlines that matter, from politics and policy to culture and faith, all through a common sense, values-driven lens. It's the kind of journalism that goes beyond the surface, offering the context and clarity to today's news demands. Whether you're tracking big national stories or you want to know what's happening in schools, state houses, and communities across the country, the Lion delivers smart, well-sourced reporting you're not going to find anywhere else. Visit readlion.com. Catch up on the latest must-read stories, and while you're there, sign up for the Lion's daily and weekly newsletters. That's readlion.com, news that informs and respects your worldview. That is it for this Friday Halloween show. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to this show, no matter what platform you're watching on right now, and like our video. So all through the weekend, people will see it and be entertained and informed, and hopefully laugh a little bit. Because if you ain't laughing, you're crying these days. Am I right? I'm right. That would be Nick Freitas. That would be Nick Freitas that ran against Abigail Spanberger. Whoops. Is that what you said, Kevin?
Whoops.
Yeah, a bit of a whoops. It's a bit of a whoops. Can I tell you? The news cycle gets out of hand sometimes. I got a lot going on in my head. $2 super chat over on Rumble from Milliken69. Glad I got to catch you live. Thank you, Larry. Glad you got to catch me live too. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. And yet, were you monitoring the chat today? I was not. I was busy. There were a lot of moving parts to the show today. What's your favorite costume you heard in the chat today, or that you read, I should say, Kevin?
Oh, there was a lot of Schumer and Jeffries ideas. I think my personal one was the best, which was that there will be no costume because my costume has been furloughed.
Oh, does that mean you're going to go nude to a party or something? Or wearing a loincloth, perhaps?
Loincloth. Why do you put me in these positions to respond to the most absurd hypotheticals?
Have you just met me? That's what I do. Sorry, hang on. Sorry about that.
You know we're live on the internet right now, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. This is it. These are the final seconds of my work week, and then I'm done for the weekend. So I'm sort of Stumble Boots with a $10 super chat. You're a jack-o'-lantern too, Stumble Boots. Thank you for that. Oh, that's a great Halloween costume. $10. That means a lot to me. Thank you, Stumble Boots. I appreciate it. Clippy's always first. Jeff Depew, $2 super chat. Harry may be dead, but he's still voting Democrat in Nevada. That's true. He is dead, right? Am I right about that? Harry Reid died.
I think so.
Yeah, he is. Thank you, Jeff. That's very funny. What else you got?
Sorry, I was looking up whether Harry Reid was dead, and he died in 2021.
You know we're live on the internet right now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing my job here, pal.
Crystal Coleman with a $5 super chat. Why does Speaker Johnson look like he was plucked out of the 1950s? Love him and his passion for America. God bless. Love your show. Thank you. Yeah, he is old school. You're right. And he's so mild-mannered. And by the way, I used to interview Johnson a lot when he was just like a backbencher on the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan's protege, sort of, a bestie, in the House of Representatives. And he was awesome. And he's exactly the same way as he is right now, which is part of the reason why I have a lot of respect for him, because being Speaker has not changed him one bit. He's exactly the same guy. And it's pretty awesome to see. Enid Pellet with a $9.99 super chat. Then she woke up. Kamala, is that who you're talking about? She thought she was going to win, and then she woke up. Yeah,
that's got to be that. That super chat came in at $12.50. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Enid Pellet. Yeah, exactly. She woke up, or she got woken up. Thank you, Crystal Coleman again with a $5 super chat. Clean CR. What is the $1.5 trillion? A request to add it into the spending bill. They funded illegals in the previous spending bill, so I'm not understanding. Yeah, exactly. They're the ones. The Democrats are the ones who have laden on all of this crap onto the thing, and then they're accusing Republicans of a poison pill. Honestly, every day I think, okay, they won't try another stupid lie, and it's reached the point where even their pals in the propaganda media are calling them out on it. It's amazing to watch. Thank you, Crystal. Holliana from Kalamazoo. I got a gal in Kalamazoo. I used to live sort of near Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo's like here. I lived down here. I was about an hour away from Kalamazoo. $5 super chat. My husband and I discovered you last month in the hardest time of my life. Oh my goodness, my sister dying of cancer. Your show kept me encouraged in peace. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Holliana. Thank you. That means a lot. And you and your family and your sister are in our prayers. I hope it works out. Darn, man. Here I am goofing around about Kalamazoo, and now your sister is dying. I'm glad we can bring a smile to your face in a tough time. That's part of our goal here. Thank you, Holliana. Paul Sassy with the with a vivid Yoda there. $10 super chat. Why does Kevin put up with you? Hold on, is that you, Kevin? Is this your nom de plume?
My burner.
Yeah.
My gosh, what was Mitt
Romney's? Yeah, Delecto.
Pierre Delecto.
Pierre Delecto. Is this your Pierre Delecto?
No, I can't say it is.
I crack up when you dog each other. I love your sarcasm. Glad to contribute to your efforts. Thank you for bringing a sane voice to the discussion. Thank you, Paul, very much. And just, we're not dogging each other.
Oh, it's dead serious.
It's very real. Jim F., $10 super chat. Love your show. Larry, found you 6 months ago and now watch daily as a good Christian. Keep fighting those demons. Oh, what? You say it's Dems? Sorry, they sound familiar. Yeah, easy mistake to make. Like Nick Freitas. Thank you, Jim. I got to let that go. Got to put it behind me. Patrick, 10 pounds over there in the UK. Kamala said she needed to find around 200,000 votes. I think she means in Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. You're right. She lost those by about 200,000 total, and with them would have won 271. You're right. Oh, no. I know that those. It's just using the word find them. In other words, see, like, why didn't the campaign manager said we're losing in these states by a total of 200,000 votes, and I don't think they're going to come in. We don't have them, or something like that. But to say they can't find the votes makes it sound like they're sitting in a suitcase somewhere, right? Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate the 10-pound super chat. Jonelle Mello. Hello, Jonelle. Hello, Jonelle. $4.99 super chat. How incompetent to be able to thwart Trump's master plan to shut down the government with a whole 5 votes that they can't muster. Yeah, that's actually very funny. That's right. Flip it back on that. Trump shut down the government. Well, all you need is 5 votes, and you've thwarted his plan. I'm going to steal that, Jonelle. Thank you very much. Bit of a Tulsi Gabbard vibe going on there with Jonelle, right? Am I wrong? Thanks for watching. Now I'm officially done. I'm done with my public duties when it comes to my profession. I still have a lot of work that y'all don't see that goes on behind that. I got hours in front of me working, but in terms of my broadcasting and streaming and public discussion, I can now shut up until Monday morning. How glorious.
Thank God.
Yeah, you know what? Quit dogging me. Do you want to show everyone your costume, Kevin?
Not particularly.
There it is. Oh, whoa! Whoa! I didn't expect you to turn on the camera. Look at you.
We'll have a little Halloween surprise for the
Look
audience.
at you.
Look at Kevin.
There he is. There he is. And I'm looking out your window, and all I think is that was the end of the marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, never be the same when I drive through that neighborhood. There's Kevin. There's a Halloween bonus for everybody.
Yeah, in lieu of skipping our 600,000 subscriber special.
We got to do that. Why are you keeping me from doing that special that I want to do?
Yeah, this is my fault.
Maybe we'll do it before I go on vacation. I have a vacation coming up. Maybe we should do it like right before then. It'll be a bit of a bonus live stream that we'll do right before vacation, because I'm going to go a little while without live shows. We're going to have some recorded shows, but not live shows because I'll be on vacation. So maybe
a guest host.
And a guest host. That's in the works. That's happening. That's right.
That's going to happen.
Surprise guest host while I'm on vacation.
That is going to happen.
But that's not for a couple more weeks. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. Kevin, thank you for everything you do. Happy Halloween, my friend.
Happy Halloween.
Thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back today or tonight if you're in England. We'll be back Monday, same time, same place. In the meantime, my name's Larry O'Connor. You can call me Larry.